The Florida Gators just got their, keisters kicked is what we're going to say by the Tennessee Volunteers. And there is one game left in this godforsaken season.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcast network. I'm just saying, that's pretty cool, and you guys help make that possible, so thank you very much for that. The Florida Gators got absolutely destroyed, dominated, stomped out, curb stomped, mollywopped, whatever you want to call it, 31-11 by the Tennessee Volunteers. And for the first time since 2003, the Volunteers have won a game in Gainesville. This was an awful performance. And I feel like in recent weeks, we've gotten to the point where the offense has been so bad that the defense is just done with it. And this is something that, we talked about going back to week 2, week 3, where we discussed how after a while, this defense is going to break, right? This defense was playing at an elite level for a long time. And in the Kentucky game broke them pretty much, is what I think of it. No defense is going to continue playing their asses off. And I'm not excusing anything. I just want to make that clear. Like, I'm not excusing any lack of effort. I'm just explaining that a lot of defenses, most defenses, no matter how good they are, if your offense is going to come out and they're not going to give you jack diddly, it's going to break the defense. Oftentimes, it will. You see it all the time, and right now we're watching a Florida offense that can't score against anyone. That's like they've played so many bad teams. This is the first time this season that Tennessee has held an SEC opponent to below 20 points. Okay? This is the second time all season that Tennessee held a team below 10. A team, and it was New Mexico State last game. No power forward teams have been held below 20. This is the first time that a Tennessee team has held an SEC opponent to under 30 points in a game. Yeah. Oklahoma scored 33 against them. Kentucky scored 34. Alabama scored 37. Arkansas scored 31. Mississippi State scored 34. Georgia scored 44. This is the first time all season that the Tennessee defense has held the team to under 30, and it was 11 points. Yeah. That's what we got. Like, that's what we're looking at. There's no doubt in my mind that this defense is just done. Because, can you imagine being a defensive player and you go, for the first month and a half of this season, we were balling. Like, we were playing great football. And then every time we did anything good or bad, anytime we stopped it, we knew that the offense was going to come out and get their asses kicked, no matter who they're facing, right? Scored 16 against USF, scored 11 against Tennessee, that again has not held an SEC opponent under 30, except for this game. Yeah, defense is going to break. There's no expert analysis that anyone can tell you to make you feel good about it, right? Your Florida Gators, my Florida Gators, our Florida Gators have an awful offense. They do. Offensive line doesn't do their job enough. DJ Lagway doesn't do his job enough, although I will say this is probably one of DJ's better games, right? He didn't turn the football over. He, even like when he made mistakes, they were, mistakes where you go, all right, like that'll happen, right? He made some great throws. He had that one to Aiden Mizell on the sideline that Aiden didn't catch, and I thought he should have, but yeah, he made some great throws. He had the J. Michael Sturdivant catch down the sideline. That was nice. He made some plays. He had his screw ups, but he made some plays. He had a great run. Like that 38-yard run was beautiful. It was, and I know no one's happy about this stuff going on right now, but I will say that it's at least nice to see, like, oh, DJ Lagway's fully healthy. He's healthy. He's breaking out spin moves and everything. Like he's healthy. And that's just that's just a nice thing to see. Again, I'm past the point where I think losing any other games, really matters here. Because like 3-8 now. Lost to USF at home. Were we really thinking Florida was going to win this game? I said it even on the crossover. I was like, look, I don't think Florida's going to win this game, but I can't take myself to pick Tennessee here. That's what it was. Like I even openly said it. I was like, I can't pick them. Like I just can't pick Tennessee here. But I do think they'll win, but I refuse to pick them. Like this is a team where this is just what they are, right? You might finish 4-8, and you might finish 3-9. I think it was after the USF game, I wrote about it on Swamp Signal, where I was like, look, like, I don't think this team's going to go 2-10, but 3-9 is very much in the realm of possibility for this team. And here we are, 3-8, one more game left. And yeah, just awful. Finished 2-6 in the conference. So there's that. Yeah, I mean that just is what it is, right? And I see it in the chat, like people going, Lane's not coming here after this, right? Lane, if Lane was watching that, he's not going to come here. I just want to float something to you, right? I just want to float something to you. If you think that Lane Kiffin is watching Florida and saying, I can't go coach there because they're bad, how many brain cells do you have? I just need to ask. Because guess what? Lane Kiffin is a candidate at Florida because they fired their head coach. Why did they fire their head coach? Because they're bad, right? And more specifically, because they've underperformed. The whole offseason, it was, this is a college football playoff caliber roster if the coaching catches up, and the coaching never caught up, and now the team's just broken for the year. Not permanently broken, but broken for the year. Like this defense, I don't think they're bouncing back. I don't. I have a really hard time. And I'm not excusing this by the defense. But I am saying, like, I've been on the side of a really good defense and a really bad offense. I know it was obviously way crappier quality. I'm not trying to do the whole, like, I played the game thing. I don't care about that. I was saying, like, I've been there and I've been on sides like, oh, we got to go out there and these losers going to go 3-and-out again. Like, that's what I've experienced that. Maybe that makes me a bad teammate for thinking it, but like, that's the reality of the situation sometimes. Would you be happy if you go out there and you make a great play on defense, or you make great plays on defense, and you force an offense to punt, and then you come off the field and 3 plays later you're going right back onto the field? I'd be mad as hell, right? I would. If I work my ass off and then you come out and you just crap the bed, yeah, I'd be mad as hell if I were them. I don't blame them for a second. I'm not excusing it, but I'm just saying, like, I don't blame you for it. That's life. That is what it is. Like that, we see that in football all the time. Great defense. Eventually you go, damn it, we just can't do it. And you stop. See it all the time. Kentucky broke them. And I will say this, like, again, this game, any game, is not changing how Lane feels about Florida, right? However he feels about it. Like, he knows. I think that he would much rather gauge how this team performed against his team as he was coaching than gauging anything about what they do against Tennessee or Florida State. That's the way more important part, right? What he saw with his own eyes in person. That's it. Yeah, this game sucked, right? No one expected it to be great. No one expected it to be good. The fact that the biggest reason people thought Florida might win this game was, well, Tennessee hasn't won in the swamp since 2003. You know how bad a reason that is? Because it's a really bad reason. I just want to throw that out there. Okay, so I would say that. You have a habit of talking bad about other teams. You mentioned so many things about UT that were wrong, and you've done it to about every team Florida's faced this year and years prior. What? I don't even remember saying anything bad about Tennessee. I said that Joey Aguilar lofts balls too much, which he did in this game. I never said anybody was better than Joey or anything like that. Said this defense isn't good, but Florida can't score on anyone, so who knows? That's what happened. We are going to go to the chat and talk with all of you about this crap game and whatever you guys say in the chat. And I'm assuming it's probably going to be a good bit about the Lane Kiffin, we'll call it, situation, right? We'll talk about that when we get back with Locked On Gators. There is one more Florida Gators football game this year, one more tailgate, one more rivalry game, one more game where you get to go sit in the stands and just go crazy. And there's nothing like it, right? That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees, so that what you see is what you pay. Take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go, download Game Time today. And the NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. I will peel the curtain back a little bit here and let you know that Cade Cunningham, first off, my favorite player in the NBA. Second, the past 2 games I have bet for him to get a triple-double. This time he finished with the points and assists, 2 rebounds away. Last time was 3 rebounds away. Breaks my heart watching him come so close, yet so far. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free reviews in the podcast and on YouTube. And the Florida Gators lost to Tennessee. I see you guys in the chat. He lofted one pass. He didn't take deep shots. He lofted the one shot that he took. I'm not going to repeat the thing about Strickland in there. Had a whole show prior to the 2024 Miami game stating Cam Ward was not good. I didn't, actually. I said that Florida would win that game because Miami's offense with the first game under Cam Ward wouldn't be good. But that Cam will be a much higher drafted quarterback than Graham Mertz. And then he's very talented. I've known Cam for years. I've never disparaged his name. Do you think they're going to show up against FSU? I don't know. Honestly, I think that the way this defense is defense is operating is you go out there for your first drive, whatever that may be. I thought that the defensive game plan was awful going into this one. You can't go too high against something like that. You gotta come on down. But they did that. And then I think they go if the offense does anything, we will fight. But the moment the offense screws up, we know it's over. And I think that's kind of the approach they take. Really, like that feels like what they do is offense screws up. Offense is going to have one of those days. Yep, just gonna protect my peace here. I'm just gonna go about it. And again, like I'm not excusing it. I don't like it, but at the same time, like I have a hard time faulting you for, because you know that this offense isn't going to go out there and do what you need them to do, right? They've never done it this year except for the Texas game. The most points that this team scored against an FBS opponent is 29. Like, that's the kind of offense that we're talking about. Kentucky has multiple games where they've had at least little, scoring outbreaks. Florida hasn't at all. Like, it's embarrassing at this point. It is. Like, Florida hasn't scored 30 against an FBS opponent. Okay. Kentucky had 48 against Eastern Michigan, which is Eastern Michigan, right? They're a MAC team. Florida scored 16 against USF. Kentucky scored 34 against Tennessee. They scored 38 against Florida. Like, they've at least had a game or two where they kind of break out. Florida's never had that. As a defender, why would you be interested in going full? But and like, look, I know that there's people that are going to go, you play hard to the whistle every single time. You do this, you do that, and I get it, right? Like I believe that that's what you should do. But at the same time, realistically, like defenses, we see it all the time. Defenses just stop working after a while when they know their offense isn't going to work. And we've had this conversation before about like why you should hire an offensive-minded coach over a defensive-minded coach. It's like because you want to make sure that your offense is good. If you have a really good offense and a trash defense, you're going to win some games. You're going to lose some games, but you're going to win some games. If you have a really good defense and a trash offense, it's tough to win games. Because defense, like one screw up gives up a big play. One miscommunication gives up a big play. But also defensively, just an inaccurate quarterback, a little bit of mistiming, that's a loss of down there. Maybe it's a pick. Like you get luckier breaks at times, right? There's also, again, the miscommunication touchdown right there. Offensively, there could be that miscommunication, but you've got to connect on that touchdown. Offensively, you could be the side where it's like, oh, they're wide open and we're still making these mistakes. We're still screwing up. It's a lot easier to win games if you got a good offense, or as opposed to having, good offense, bad defense, or bad defense, good offense. Like if you're going to be good on one side of the ball, it should be offensive. Florida's awful on offense. This season was a lost cause, pathetic and unacceptable. We need a new coach that can win. Yep. Hopefully reinforcements on the way. The program in the dark ages for real. I never thought I'd have to go through this. Yeah, it sucks, man. It sucks. Like that's just is what it is. And yeah, that's just how that goes. For the people that talk about, firing Dan Mullen was a bad idea. No, it wasn't. It really wasn't. Again, this doesn't come down to what happened after firing Dan Mullen. That's not how you judge whether or not you should have fired someone. Like, they fired Dan Mullen because Dan Mullen stopped trying. No secret, no surprise. They fired Dan Mullen because he stopped trying. He did. And, like, that's on him. He's a great in-game coach, but he didn't want to recruit. He didn't want to do the hard things, right? He gave up. I told this story before. I spoke to one of the position coaches at the time. He told me, he was like, hey, after the Oklahoma loss in the bowl game, I put my house up for sale. I knew Dan was checked out. That is what it is. Like, yeah, you could talk about, hiring Billy was a bad decision. There's absolutely a valid case for that. But firing Dan Mullen was a bad decision? No. There's no valid case for that. I get it. You could look at the win-loss and you could say he also went 6-9 in his last 15 games or something like that. He wasn't doing hot stuff anyway at the end, right? Why? Because it was guys that he actually had to recruit and he wasn't putting in the effort. It's also the guys who are even, hey, Billy, cycle them out. Like, that's it. And so I think that's just how you have to look at it. Do you think Gonzalez was going to do any better? I didn't. No, I was fine with Billy Gonzalez coming in as an interim coach. Just because, he's been around the program. He's been here. I thought that it should have been Jaluk. And then when Jaluk struck a player before the LSU game, that was never happening at that point. So I thought it would be Billy Gonzalez or Mike Peterson. Those were the two, which I've been very open about both of them. I didn't care if they were on staff to begin with. I didn't. I don't think that wide receivers have been actually developed enough to justify it and to care. And I mean, edges, again, I don't think they've done a good job with the edge room. Edges have left and gotten better. So I think that's it. So yeah, I don't necessarily care about who it was. Like, because again, you're firing your interim not to go, all right, let's salvage the season. You're firing you're firing your coach and you have an interim not to save your season, right? Like you fired your coach because the season's failed at that point, and now you hire an interim to run the program to the best of his ability until you get a new coach. Like that is what it is. I don't think anyone's hoping or expecting, Billy Gonzalez to turn things around when he got hired. That was never a realistic expectation, right? Like this team still wasn't going to go do it. They weren't. And part of it is because the coaching staff has not properly developed guys. Not every spot on the coaching staff, but there have been quite a few spots where there just hasn't been enough development. And at a certain point, not going to play out in your favor. Have we scored 30 yet against LIU? Against an FBS team? No. Nope. Against an FBS team, the season high is 29 with Texas. So that's what that is. And yeah, I mean, like you talk about the injuries in this game. Like we got to see Drake Stubbs play, Hilton Stubbs play. So that was fun, right? I feel like everybody's been talking about it. He's been tweeting very publicly about, being what was it? It was like a GIF of I think a dog or something like that in a cage just going nuts. And it's like he's just trying to, obviously indicating that he's just trying to get out. He's trying to go out there and make plays. It was funny that he immediately went out there, missed a tackle. But that was just, it was just funny to think like the whole tweeting and everything. And then first play out there is a screw up, but like he played well after that. I thought he had, solid, I think he took solid angles, handled his responsibility with run fits, did what he had to do. Like, I thought he played well after that. Not like Tennessee was really doing much. They were just like, yeah, we're just going to gap run this whole time, just punch in the mouth. That's it. I know people want to blame Scott Strickland for stuff. I blame Scott Strickland for stuff too. Again, people go, you think Lane was impressed by that stunning performance, Gators? If you think that these games are indicating or are impacting where any coach is making their decision, you're a grade A idiot. That's not how this works, right? It's just not. I will say that for DJ Lagway, like I thought that this game was, again, not a great game, right? But honestly, not awful. Went 11 for 17 passing, 116 yards and a touchdown, had 10 carries for 40 yards, which that number is going to look actually better when you take away the sack yardage from it. Like, I don't think he played awesome football, but I do think that he played well enough to go, all right, that wasn't like that was something we could live with, right? We coach you up a little bit more, we get you a bit better. I think one of the things was there's still just like these weird like lapses where it feels like there's no chemistry. Like there was a swing route to Jaden Ball that was just behind Jaden Ball's outside shoulder. And like DJ, that was the right read, right throw. Ball's got to turn around for the ball. He wasn't even looking, but you got to turn around. You're the hot running back there. Like you're the hot receiver there. You got to be there ready. and he wasn't. And so I think that there's that. I think DJ, again, looked healthier than he's looked all season in this one. He did, like, again, he broke out a spin move. Like, you can't tell me he's not feeling good right now. And so I think that when we talk about that, like, I think that's a good, I think that was a good starting point, I guess, when we talk about rebounding from this awful season that he's had so far. I think that's a solid spot. Again, he needs to be fixed. We've had this conversation so many times. He needs to be fixed. I don't know if I don't know if he's going to get fixed at Florida. I've said that before too. Like, I think that there's a weird relationship right now with like the fans and DJ and all that. And so I don't know what that's going to look like for him, but I'd gladly keep him. I don't care who the head coach is. I'd gladly keep him and see if you could do it. See what you can do and develop. I know people want to know what plan B is for Lane Kiffin. You ask 10 different people, you'll probably get 6 different answers, right? Who knows who there actually is? Like, we've talked about names that have been brought up, right? And we've talked about that, and we know that they've vetted a bunch of guys, but who they actually want as plan B, we'll see. We'll see if they don't get plan A, right? That's what it is. Like, I don't care what LSU reports. I don't care what national media reports. I don't care what Ole Miss reports. I don't care what Florida people report. I've told you guys just about everything that I've heard. The things that I haven't told you, I've told you. I will tell you once things actually happen. I told the insider program some stuff during the game. I got some information about the coaching search. And so I told the insider program, links in the description below. If you want to join that, join subtext.com/LockedOnGators. But like, this is the pursuit. I don't like people going, oh yeah, it's over. He's signing with this. He's doing this. I don't give a damn. LSU is getting ready to put together this $90 million offer or whatever it was. Like, that's good for them. That offer isn't what would make me nervous, right? So I think looking at this game, it's just like, it doesn't matter for Lane Kiffin or whoever the next head coach is going to be, right? Like these games don't matter. Everybody's confident on every side, and it makes no sense to me other than saying, like, all right, no one knows. I don't care if every side is telling me, because again, I've spoken to LSU, Ole Miss, unrelated people, Florida people, and every side has been like, yeah, they feel good about this. They feel good about that, right? I don't care what you feel good about anymore, because if everybody feels good, all that tells me is that no one has a definitive answer about what's going on and knows the truth. Like, he could sell, like, let's hypothetically, he could tell Florida, hey, I'm gonna take the job at Florida. He could tell LSU, hey, I'm gonna take the job at Florida. He could tell Ole Miss, hey, I'm gonna stay at Ole Miss. Or he could tell LSU, hey, I'm gonna take the job at LSU. He could tell Ole Miss, I'm gonna stay at Ole Miss. He could do all those things. Someone will be right. We won't know who will be right. And whoever is right is going to say, I told you the whole time, when you didn't actually know that. Brandon, do you think that Florida is going to match the LSU offer? I think Florida might beat it. I'll tell you that. Screw matching. Ante up. Say that. But yeah, like Lane could say to all these schools, hey, I'm taking your job. And someone will be right. But no one will really know until pen hits paper and he's signed and he's there. That's it. Until then, like, I've been told again from all sides, hey, we feel really good. That's cool. But if you all feel really good, all that tells me is that none of you really know what's happening. That's all that tells me. And I do believe, like, I know that there's people that want to just go, well, Lane's a jerk, right? Or Lane's immature, or Lane's this, Lane's that. And so he would be trolling this side or that side, or doing this or doing that. And it's like, okay, but first off, I don't care if he's a jerk or if he's whatever, right? Like, why am I going to care? I'm not going to deal with him. That's not for me to do. I want to win football games for my team. You do that, I'm cool with it. I don't care about anything else. Like you do your job, cool. That's what I care about. Who knows what he'll really do? I think for most of this time, regardless of what people think about him personally, I think for much of this process, he really hasn't known what he's going to do. When people talk about, like when people were talking about it even last week, or 4 days ago, 3 days ago, whatever it is, when all the reports started coming out, even then, I think he didn't know what he was going to do. And like all the national reports that come out, like Pete Thamel, I forgot who else, Ross Dellinger put out one, and it was like, oh yeah, like people close to Lane don't know what he's doing. Like, okay, people close to Lane admit they don't know what he's doing, but people at every school thinks that they know what he's doing. Like that just doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. I do think he's come to a decision at this point. I do. I will continue to say that based off of everything I've heard, based off everything I've been told, I do still think that he winds up at Florida, right? And if he doesn't, he doesn't. I've never been the it's Lane or bust guy. I've never done that. So I will say that Kiffin, look, he's bounced around, but like, was all of it him? Yeah, fired at USC, took an OC job at Bama for a couple of years, and then got a head coaching job. And it's like, all right, well, then he did that. Thank you for complimenting my hair there. And also, like, I do think that this is also important to acknowledge, like with guys that bounce around, it's like a lot of them, even if they do bounce around, once they get to a pinnacle program, they stop bouncing around. Right? Like once they get to a program and they go, yeah, I could finish my career here. I'm like, we're going to have all the resources. We're going to have whatever we need. Then there it is. Who's your choice if not Lane? Not Lincoln Riley. I'll say that for the people that bring him up. Not Lincoln Riley. I don't like him as a candidate. I am so tired of the, he just needs a DC. Like he's got a good DC right now in Danton Lynn. He does. He's got Doug Belk as a DB coach. Those are two great minds. And they teams. I also don't think that Lincoln Riley's cut out for the SEC. I'll say that. I don't see it. I'm not a fan. Okay. If he's a Florida Gators coach, I'll support him. I will hope he wins. I'm not going to be that kind of guy where it's like, I didn't want him as the hire, so now I hope he fails. Like whoever is hired at Florida, unless it's a very select couple people that we don't even need to talk about, and that I don't think are actual candidates as well. I'll say that. I will support them, right? Like that's what it is for me. Yeah, and as far as like what Al Davis said about Lane Kiffin, like no offense, but like that is so long ago. Yeah, that was so long ago, and like it's not like Al Davis did a lot of things right either. So I'll say that. But yeah, not Lincoln would be guy. Like I'd still be cool with Brent Key. I know that tonight was not a good night for them, but I'd still be cool with Brent Key. I'd still be cool with Jeff Brom. Marcus Freeman is not coming. Just not happening. Don't see him leaving Notre Dame. Kenny Dillingham's not happening. I don't see him leaving Arizona State is also my point. I think there are plenty of quality candidates. And I think that you're at Florida with the resources that they're willing to dispense. I think you could have a lot of guys that can win a lot of games here. I don't think Lane is I don't think it's Lane or bust. I just think that Lane is the best candidate. I will say that. I think he's the best candidate. Someone will have egg on their face after the Egg Bowl. Yeah, that's the thing with all of this. With all this reporting, right? And we'll talk about this when we'll get not Cliff Kingsbury. Like I'll support him if he's the coach, but I don't think he's a good one. I think he's worse than Lincoln Riley by an insane margin. I'll say this before we go for the the people that talk about like someone's gonna have egg on their face or whatever it is. That's where I get really uneasy with all. To just be completely honest, and like that's if you're new here, then just know like I'm gonna be wrong a bunch of times about opinionated stuff. As long as I'm honest, I can live with it. Like I don't care if I'm wrong on stuff. Yeah, as long as I'm honest, that is what it is. But the uneasiness that I feel with some of this stuff, and I've said this to the insider program as well. Like Florida is either shaping up to get to go "I told you so" to everybody, everyone. Like Florida's either going to do that and get to go, yeah, we got Lane, we get to rub it in everyone's face, or Florida looks completely oblivious to the world around them. That's it. Those are the outcomes. If you hire Lane, then it looks like we did this the right way. We did this better than you. And we got this done, despite all the LSU reports and national media reports, which, by the way, none of those reports really say anything other than LSU's pushing really hard, LSU's trending. But they don't say how or why. Someone, I forgot who, I think it was Pete Thamel, said, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing his last name, but I think he said that, oh yeah, like it comes down, a lot of it comes down to why Lane feels LSU more, because LSU's been really focused on Lane and Florida's spoken to a bunch of guys. It's like, okay, well, Florida has very openly, very publicly been saying, or not even very openly, very publicly, because they've been quiet about everything, but it's been very public. Florida's targeting Lane Kiffin, and he's their top target. LSU, job's been open for a shorter amount of time, and it's like, oh yeah, by the way, they're looking at Lane, and if Lane doesn't work, then they've already got Drink going, and they've spoken to Drink already, and they've done this. What do you mean that they've been only focusing on Lane? What are we doing here? Like, are we reporting or are we reporting? Like, what the hell is this? I don't get it. So I'm gonna say that, but like the way that I feel about it is that yeah, Florida's either shaping up to get to say we knew it, you didn't know it, you're fools, all this stuff. And if it doesn't go Florida's way, then everyone gets to go. And they'd be right with this, by the way. I'll say that. Everyone gets to say this, and they would be right by saying Florida has lost base. Like they've lost touch. They're oblivious to what's going on around them. That's it. Like that's what'll happen. That's what'll happen. Because that's what it is. Like that, I can't view it another way. Because national media and LSU and Ole Miss media are even going, oh, Lane's going to LSU. And Florida media is going, no, he's not. Florida still feels good about things, which is what we've been saying. Is that, yeah, Florida still feels good about things. And if Florida being wrong, myself included, then all it's going to look like is they're oblivious. That's exactly why I make sure to say I'm being told these things. That's exactly why it's like that's why I go, this is what I'm told. And I've been very clear. I'm speaking to people on all sides, and I'm just telling people what I'm hearing, and then I'm telling you that what my thoughts were is that no one knows what Lane's doing. I don't care how many people tell you they feel really good about it. That's it. And so like that's how it is. Like Florida's either going to get a really, really big optic win by hiring Lane, or a really, really bad optic loss if they don't hire Lane. And if they don't hire Lane and they do match resources, which they're doing, okay? I'll say that. Like, if they don't hire Lane and they do match resources, then all that really tells you is that Lane didn't want to come here that much to begin with. And maybe that does tell you things about the program, right? Maybe. It could say things about him, like that people like to try to talk about all the time. But yeah, I think that right now we're just at a really weird spot for Florida where, again, like things could really look good for you, or really look bad. And I just hope that we really, really look good from it. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. You're available daily and free. Listen to the podcast and on YouTube. We will be back Monday at the absolute latest, maybe tomorrow. We'll see what's going on with it. We'll be back Monday at the absolute latest. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with New York Giants on SI and all my Florida Gators written work with swampsignal.substack.com. And I will see you all next time.